Good morning and welcome, all you beautiful people. It is post-show NXT time where we put the tea in NXT, and what good is a little tea with some honey? Mix it up a little bit. We're about to get into all things NXT, and we're going to get started right now on WWT Live.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go off. This is Shayna, the Queen of Spades, Baszler, and you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Hello and good morning, everybody here. Welcome to WWT Live. I'm your hostess, Wrestling with Honey, where we also will be talking about our NXT post-show and all things NXT in the land of tricky questions and tricky sessions. It has been a little tricky around here. And I am not alone. I am joined by my boss lady, Miss The Real TK, hanging out with us today as well. How are you? Good morning, boss lady.
Good morning. I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Pretty energized. You know, I didn't have my morning shake yet, but you know, I'm shaking it off and getting ready for the day. and we also have our beloved professor, our Teflon G.
Go forward. Go forward. Go forward. Man.
Moving forward indeed. How we doing, Professor?
I am good on a Wednesday morning after my favorite 2 hours of TV. How are you?
It's going good. You know, I kind of gave myself a little crash course this morning. I didn't watch it live. Oh, your girl was hanging out in the universe. I will put it
yes.
as not because you know I'm not really for the streets. I'm more for the universe. But but yeah. So we are out here.
What you were in Trickville? You were saying?
not Trickville.
Oh my!
We have a new
Lash might have a problem with that.
We have a new location. Oh Lord, have mercy. I mean, I wasn't really hanging in Trickville, but I know damn sure who was. And shall we just get it? Shall we just get into it then? I guess we might as well just get into the Supernova session special.
Oh gosh!
Where we had Metaphor and host their Supernova sessions, and they hosted a certain NXT champion, Trick Willie Wonka, as Lash Legend has supposedly dubbed him, which is really interesting choice of words considering last week's session that they had with each other. But what did you guys think of Supernova sessions this week and how that transpired and how we finally got the reveal of what was in that envelope?
First off, it was very underwhelming. And I don't know if it's underwhelming because the realty was, you know, what's Lash and Trick been doing. I don't know if that was I don't know if you were going to do it underwhelming to, you know, have now like more of the question, like, yeah, like who is the daddy or who is your daddy, depending. So it's just kind of like, you know, it's like they showed a picture. I'm like, that's all we doing. Like your career is built on sand. That's in the picture, like for real. So I did love the puns.
They were great. The puns were great.
Jerry Springer show, because I'm like, wait, so because more of my questions were like, so wait, so you call him Trick Willie Wonka? So what we all HR get you fired questions entered my mind. What we doing? Because the reason, and it's funny though, because there's other couples that are in NXT, and I'm sure you saw at Wallamena Bonner.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if NXT has that policy, and I'm sure they do. I believe it was I think it was in Becky's book where she talked about like don't sleep with your coworkers, and clearly we have all these couples, you know, who are long time married, so it's not like. And there was some drama, but long time married. So it's kind of one of those things. I wonder if they had those conversations and they're like, we'll just see how this plays out. I don't know. But I'm more interested in, you know, how we got together, when you know the moment. Are you officially together, or are you kind of sort of together? Or are you just, you know, friends? who happen to be together? Like, where
Like,
are you in love? Like, I have
what's
all
the
those.
tea?
What's
What
the
is
tea?
the
Whatever was
tea?
in
And
that envelope, I was not. It was just like, okay, but what can we discuss this over here? Did y'all moving together? How long has this been? Like, y'all met each other's parents? Like, all those questions. So that was.
I think it's safe to say TK felt this way about this supernova.
I'm not feeling it.
She wasn't feeling it. She wasn't feeling what was in that envelope. It was totally underwhelming. I would have to be inclined to agree. But Professor, what did you think about the accidental babe that came out of the mouth of Lash Legend, and it pretty much made the crowd go wild? How did you feel about that?
So it's funny that you say that, because we have to start with the fact that there's just an energy between Trick and Lash that leaps through the screen. It is undeniable. And I appreciated Trick kind of saying what a lot of us thought, which was, this is it? This is all you got? Like, you brought me out here for this? And it was like that played clear second, third fiddle to what we saw in terms of their interaction. When Lash said babe, it reminded me, you know how many couples have their own pet names for each other, and some of them don't even refer to each other by their given name. It's whatever the pet name is. Yeah. Usually if you're calling them by their government, something is up. You're either really
That
trying to
usually
get
means
their
they're in
it's either
trouble, or you're
trouble
just
or
trying to
you're
get the
really
attention.
trying to get their attention.
Yeah.
And so it almost felt like a moment where she forgot where she was. She forgot because it came out so fast, and then she remembered, oh, Trick. To which I will say, there are those who might say, oh, they planned all this stuff out and things like that. What many don't understand is a lot of these moments aren't planned out word for word. So if you're in there and then it slips and everybody catches it, it's like, well, we're here now. So,
Like,
and
there's no
all the
turning back.
questions, no turning back. And so, there were a lot of interesting moments, but I think that moment was, and then, she was flustered and she goes to walk out and he touches her by the stomach. Like, there's a level of familiarity here that isn't just, we just went out for coffee.
Oh no.
This isn't,
It's very intimate.
there is a strong level of familiarity, and this is really fun to watch. It's also interesting to see how that moment devolved into Trick getting knocked out, and then once Trick gets knocked out, as we fast forward to the end of the show where they catch up with Metaphor, it's very interesting that Lash is not with them. So I thought that was very interesting. You see three of them come out, no Lash in sight. Did she go to the hospital with Trick? Did she need to be by his side? Why isn't she there?
Trick?
I'm just saying. I mean, trying to bring him back to health, performing CPR. What are the things that are happening here with Lash Legend? And this is very interesting. And I'll tell you, this is very much unlike the normal wrestling romances we get on TV. They're usually forced. They're usually not feeling like this, but this has got a different energy on it, and I'm here for all of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, I think the most interesting dynamic about this on-screen pairing is that with past, it's very rare that the couples actually want to work together. Like, I remember there was a period and point in time where they tried to put, and Becky talks about this in her book, where they tried to put her and Rollins together as a tag team, and it was against Corbin and Lacey Evans, because she was going through a whole trial and tribulation with Lacey Evans at the time. And they found it really awkward to work together. Whereas opposed to Trick Williams and Lash Legend, it's like the on-screen camera chemistry and the interaction with the people and the reactions from the people. It's like they're all in on it and they're all into it. I think this is definitely something that CW is going to capitalize off of when they do make that switch. big time, it's gonna be like an episode of Charmed or something like that, like, you know. And I think it's just gonna
Sort of
it
charm.
adds maybe not so much now the now Charmed, the new Charmed. I don't know if anybody saw the new Charmed in CW, but you know, all that like little drama. I mean, I don't know. I just said whatever came out in my mouth, so it just came to mind. But nonetheless, I think it just creates a lot more fun for the dynamic of the relationship with Lash Legend and Trick Williams going forward. Now, Noam Dar did seem very serious by the end of that session. Like, he's not here to play games, and he seems to have eyes on that title, on that NXT title. What do you guys feel about a possible NXT champion in Noam Dar?
I mean, yeah, no, it's not
Uh,
happening. I mean, I think we have a couple of universes that are going on. We have the reality and the moneymaker and the deal, like you were mentioning, honey, with CW, all that stuff. Definitely, Trick is the face for this. Like the build up between him and Mello, all that. Like this is like years in the making. I don't know if this is the end part as far as storyline, but this is like where he is now is perfectly placed. At least for the next, I would say minimum 3 months. Maybe we're going 6 months. Maybe we're doing something a little bit longer. So definitely that. So it's cute. But I think definitely the thing which leads me to answer some of my own questions, meaning that if I were WWE brass, if this was a couple that just got together, I wouldn't necessarily put them together on screen because you don't know how life is going to play out. So it leads me to believe that it's been a minute. There's confidence in this relationship that it's going to be, you know, they're intending to go the long haul. That's why I say, and or they could just be really great actors because, you know, now I feel really old saying this, but young folks they've been on social media like all the time, like since birth. So like I feel like it's a lot easier for them to play those characters where, like you were referencing Becky's book, she wasn't really into the social media. She kind of is not that much into it now, right?
Still,
right.
You know, it's a different generation. You have generations now that they've been on the camera before you know, coming out of the womb. So it's a little different. So they might just really be good actors and actresses. However, if you reference back to our last episode, Professor said that he saw with his own eyes.
With his own, he seen it. He said with his own two pupils, he saw it. Yep, proof is in the pudding.
But to your point, TK, you know, what I think is so incredible about the wrestling industry, one of the couples that we've loved historically the most being, you know, the Macho Man and Elizabeth. You know, many didn't realize when they had the wedding ceremony at SummerSlam all of those years ago, they were actually divorced. So it is kind of amazing to think of how people can work together and appear to have the same kind of chemistry, even though in real life that might not be the case. So if Trick and Lash have been able to demonstrate that, hey, they understand the bigger picture here, which is the color green, then absolutely, you know, they'll do whatever needs to be done. To answer your earlier question about Noam Dar, should he be going for the NXT title? Absolutely, he should. He has all of the experience in the world, and he has been doing all of the things a former cruiserweight champion in and of his own right. But now isn't the time for him to be the champion. And I really think that this match is going to play just like the envelope, a backstory and as background to the bigger story, which is what's really going on with Trick and Lash. And will this particular moment devolve into something where Lash ultimately and this union cost Trick the championship somewhere down the road? I personally think we could be looking at a Samson and Delilah kind of situation where she's trying to find the secret of his strength. He lays his head in her lap, and all of a sudden, before it's over, she's found the secret, and Trick Willy Wonka is no longer champion. So
Why
I
did
think
you have
this
to
has.
go biblical though? Why?
Well, I mean,
Go forward.
it's.
Go
I
forward.
mean, it's a
Go forward.
scenario. She could be trying to find the secret to his strength. I'm just
Dylan, when you
saying.
watch this, please cut that
Just-
out because
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
I
I'm
fell out.
just
I
saying.
fell out. You're just gonna
Wow.
see me on the screen.
It's
I fell
not
out.
Romeo and Juliet, that's for sure.
Well, it's
So,
certainly. I would
Wow.
have to. I would certainly agree. It's definitely not no Romeo and Juliet,
mm-mm,
but it is
mm-mm.
certainly going to be a pleasure to see how far they roam with this story. And
Yes.
shout out to everybody in the chat: Brandon Stevens, MDB, we see you. WrestleMania Maniac UK, thanks
Max
for
in the
joining us.
building. Oh, yes.
I've always been a wrestling couple kind of guy, so I'm loving Trick and Lash right now. And so are we very much. Shout out to everybody in the chat and shout out to all the viewers in here. MDB says, for some reason, TK shirt makes me want to go, nah. You know
Yeah.
what, MDB? We can, you know what? We cherish and we appreciate the energy that you bring to this chat for
He's here
sure,
all
sir.
day.
All
All
day,
day.
every day, and I'm here for the energy. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see where this story goes, especially with, Noam Dar being so serious, and Lash Legend was not seen after the fact with
Nope.
with Metaphor altogether. So I don't know. She's been acting a little weird, and like she got them butterflies going on for Trick. So I guess we'll see where they lead her next week. But
Yeah, call up SWV because she's weak in the knees. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
saying.
You know what,
Just
Professor,
saying.
bringing all the
So early in the
puns
morning,
today.
though. Wow.
Hey,
I know
hey.
this. My
Wait,
morning
can we,
NXT is kicking in for sure.
Can we bring up Sexy Red's tweet?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Well,
yes. Because
I
this is a
can't.
thing as well.
I can't believe that I even have to acknowledge this or even talk about this.
What, you
I
not
was
a fan
gonna.
of Sexy Red?
I'm not a fan of it. No, I'm not for it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not here for Sexy Red, especially with that terrible sampling of Shawn Michaels. How dare you ruin a classic, girl? You
Wow.
don't. That's just how I feel. But
Wow.
if we must, we must. As Trick Williams says here, let's talk about it. She says, Sexy Red basically says, man, what WTF I just watched on Supernova Sessions. Metaphor better watch they back because Trick Williams is going to be on day ass now, which is really funny. Yeah, so it's safe to say that, Sexy Red is a true fan of the WWE Universe, and I can't really be mad at that. I'm just not a fan of the music, Be a fan of, I could share, fandom with WWE all day long. But I don't know if I share the same taste in music. But shout outs to Sexy Red for, tuning in. And shout out to everybody else who tunes in to WWT Live. We got some more comments up in here. MDV says, I'm just here for comic relief and to annoy Teflon G periodically. Well, which you know what? You are very good at your job, sir. You are very good at your job. WrestleManiac UK, Lash lacks composure, LOL. Definitely weak in the knees. Safe to say that, yeah. And again, shout out to Sexy Red for the tweet. I know we skipped on to the juicy and tricky stuff, but let's go into the more serious stuff that kicked off the night last night, which was the return of one of our favorite cruiserweights, Wes Lee, coming in the building and facing Josh Briggs. This match was actually a very good one-on-one. It still amazes me that this kid was just leaving in December off of this fatal, crazy injury, almost career ending, and still come back and pretty much give Terminator vibes and just like nothing happened. He was flipping and jumping and doing his thing. And I was really happy to see him back in the ring. It feels like still feels like he has that big connection with the crowd. He's definitely a big crowd favorite, especially in Orlando at the Full Sail University there, or at the PC. But what did you guys think of this showing and Wesley's first match back and against Josh Briggs, who's been pretty much making a path and name for himself in NXT while he's been gone? TK, start with you.
Josh did the backbreaker on Wesley. Did you? I was like,
yep, clutch
he
the pearls
just
for a
came
second.
back. Don't break his back. Like
right.
it was. I mean, obviously, you have to clear all these all these hoops medically wise, especially in the era that we're in. Because if he was injured and he came back and then he got re-injured, that's a possible lawsuit, and I'm sure WWE don't want no parts in that. So there were some spots where it's just like first off, Matt Wesley in LA for that WrestleMania, the whitest teeth ever. So shout out to his dentist. So when I see him, but it was just kind of like the person in me is like, he just came back, like just a little fear. But then when I saw him he kind of did a run and he got the post and a flip and a kick into Josh.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess you good. Like because he did it with so much confidence. There was no hesitation at all. So you know, it was a great match. It was a great showing. If it was one of those things where I need to show you guys that I'm back, that he did it in this match.
Yeah.
What do you think? What did you think, Professor? What did you think of the return of Mr. Wesley?
Well, you know, I love the strategic and intentional nature of NXT. This is literally what started the show. They started the show with this whole vignette and this whole story, taking all the way back to him winning the North American Championship back at Halloween Havoc 22. And then to this space of, oh my God, he's like injured, like he's in trouble. And, you know, the way my brain was working, I thought that this happened to him again, like in October, but the fact that it happened in December, he came back in 5 months' time.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be out for a year. And when you start talking about back issues and when they, you know, kind of laid it out, it was amazing. And then they come straight out of that. He's in tears and they have that single camera shot of him from the back going I mean, they're combining all of the right things to make you care about this. And I thought I was like UTK, when that backbreaker happened, I was very nervous. Very nervous because, again, that's something you don't play with. And even if you get the move approved, you know, you're off 1 inch one way or another, we could have a whole nother issue here. So it was amazing to see him do all that he did, obviously getting the win. You know, you end up with the Viking Raider, Ivar out there on commentary, and then there ends up being a match. And of course, Wesley just can't win the match and walk away. No, he's got to hop up to the top rope. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, that corkscrew jump off the top was insane.
Oh, golly.
Insane.
So Wesley is definitely back. I'm excited to see where this can go. It's clear that at some point there will be a rematch for the North American Championship against Obafemi. That match scares me already, given the power of Obafemi, and you know, he don't care. So I think we've got some really, really cool days ahead. But welcome back, Wesley.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome back, Wesley. Indeed, he completely killed it on his return. I just, oh Lord. MDB, y'all think Wesley and Darby Allin are cousins because they're doing risky-ish for no reason? You know what? I mean, I don't think it was Darby's intention to actually get hit by a bus, just saying, because that was an accident. It wasn't really him doing anything risky, but I digress there. But yeah, shout out again to Wesley for putting on a great showing on his return. And of course, we saw Obafemi make a little feature towards the end of that match, knowing that he's got his eyes on the former North American champion who's never lost that title, which I think we all should keep that in mind for the near future. But moving on, we had some more jam-packed action. This was a really good jam-packed NXT. They also showed some vignettes in behind the scenes of the 12 women combine for the qualification for the North American Women's Championship, and the list has been revealed as well. I need to get to that. I need to get to the list. I don't know. Do we have the list actually up? There we go. Yeah. Okay, hold on. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so the women, there's a lot of great qualifiers for this match, and the 12 that have come to be inside the qualification matches that are going to be upcoming in the next couple of weeks for NXT. We have the likes of Sol Ruka, Thea Hale, Jada Parker, Brinley Reese, Meechin, Fallon Henley, Lash Legend, Ivy Nile, Izzy Dame, Kaylani Jordan, Tatum Paxley, and Ren Sinclair. I'm going to pose this question to you first, Professor. Which names stand out the most to you in this list, and who could you see going all the way for this tournament for the NXT North American Championship?
So I'm low-key surprised that Sol Ruka was number one. I totally expected her to make this list, but number one says an awful lot about just how complete of an athlete she is. Again, what's so unique about the women's combine is this is not the first time they've done this. And in times past, they've had the NXT combine on the WWE network. It might still actually be on Peacock if you guys get a chance to check it. Have some patience because it's like a 6-hour deal, but they literally take you through every event and everybody competing in it. And MDB, I would not put it past them to put the full combine on Peacock at some point, but they definitely needed to get us the results, or else it could have easily taken a whole show. I'm really excited to see all of the athletes that are here. Jada Parker coming in at number 3 is massive. Massive.
Yes.
Because I think people need to understand, she's more than just a viral sensation. She is an athlete, and she's an athlete who has attitude. She's got all of the things that you look at to go, we can build a star around this person. Thea Hale coming in at number 2 is a really big deal as well. Lash Legend, I knew would be in there. I'm not surprised that she's at 7. I think there's a part of me that thought she might be a little higher, but certainly I think her strength is just that, the strength element of things. She's extremely strong, which I think is exciting to see. Not surprised to see Ivy Nile there, given her athletic history. I'm kind of surprised that Kaylani Jordan came in as low as she did, but in all fairness, 89, when you have 3 people at 91 and 4 people at 90, that just goes to show how tight things really were with all of them. Great to see Tatum Paxley on this list, and I'm glad to see Ren Sinclair make this list as well. I think what we're going to see, obviously, are 12 incredible athletes, and any 6 of them in this ladder match will be a problem. We might get to at some point who we think might make it, but I definitely think this is a very solid list, and it speaks again very powerfully to the incredible amount of talent that's in the NXT women's division.
Absolutely. Boss Lady, who stands out on this list for you? Who do you see taking it all the way?
Well, I mean, the list, like Professor is saying, the list is great. What it tells me is that when the competition happens, it's just going to be very stiff competition, because somebody like, for instance, like a Lash Legend coming in 7th, you have to take into account doing combines, and I've done quite a few. When you do combines, your height and certain things genetically play a role that you have to either train to go against, or you just, I'm going to make it up in strength. So as far as, Lash being in the middle for this combine, that's fine and all, but what we talking about when we start wrestling. So this just means that what we're going to see leading up to it, these matches are going to be crazy, because all these ladies, and pretty much anybody who kind of gets entered in the NXT sphere, the Performance Center sphere, they're going to be crazy athletes. However, like Professor is saying, as far as the numbers, they're so stacked together that we might see some phenomenal stuff. And that's what I'm excited about. Just because Lash came in 7th, or, Thea Hill came in 2nd, imagine that matchup, what that's going to look like. So it was a great way. And, I definitely want to I wouldn't watch 6 hours. It was a great way to kind of see the vignettes and see how it's all to put together, and a very, what's the word? Not safe, very fair way. Like, if you got it, you got it. So it's a very fair way how they did it. So I'm excited. Combines are always, when you're like at peak conditioning, combines are always like exciting to be a part of. To watch, not so much, but to be a part of, like
Right.
Yes. So I'm really excited as far as what's next for them.
Yeah, needless to say, this is a very strong list. But go ahead, Professor.
It is. There's a name that I want to mention that was actually on camera for these combines that most might not have realized was there, but is significant given all that's happened in the last week. And that is Tamyra Mensah Stock, who is an Olympian, an Olympic medalist. And she was, if many will remember, back at WrestleMania 38, she was brought out alongside one Gable Steveson. And so I think it's interesting that Gable Steveson, as our good friend A Dazzle said, is ungable to compete. But what is for sure is that Tamyra Mensah Stock is a part of NXT. It was done much more quiet than Steveson was. She's already had her first set of matches on NXT live events. And so seeing her in this combine is significant. And considering she's an Olympic medalist, she didn't make the top 12, which tells you just how athletic these women are.
Or is it possible that there is kind of the stuff we didn't see? Because that's what I was questioning too. Like who was in the combine to go this direction and who was in combine to just do the numbers, because you know what I'm saying, like if she made it to the top 3, was she ready as far as WWE wrestling? Like we know she can wrestle, but WWE wrestling, is she ready for that?
Well, and to that, it also makes me wonder, you know, all of these women literally come from a well-known athletic background. Most of them were part of the NIL program. And so when you think about some of these sports, you've got Sol Ruka, who was obviously a volleyball player and involved in gymnastics. That kind of sport involves a lot more of all of what the combine would consist of, as opposed to just wrestling, which is where, so wrestling obviously is where Tamyra would be very, very strong, but not necessarily quick, you know, as opposed to a Lash Legend, who was a basketball player, who obviously had to have greater quickness and strength than a rest. So I think I think her being included in the 20 women is a statement in and of itself. But I don't necessarily think that they padded the numbers for this, just because when you think about those sports and what those sports require, pro wrestling it definitely involves more of what you need in terms of speed and quickness and all those types of things versus, you know, amateur wrestling.
Yeah. Very, very, very good points there. Very interesting points. Can I just say something just off on a tangent real quick about Sol Ruka? Her finisher, what is it called? The soul, is
It's
it the
Soul
Snatcher?
Snatcher.
My God, Chef's Kiss, and one of my favorite finishers right now at NXT to date, because it just looks, she just makes it look so effortless and so easy. That's not an easy move to pull off. The bouncing off the rope upside down and then drag like that. I don't know. I just had to acknowledge that real quick. She's easily becoming a top favorite of mine, and possibly one who could make it almost all the way for me. But yeah, this, like I said, this list is very strong, and it's going to be really cool to see who pairs up with who. We do have a couple of qualifying matches, which we'll get into that towards the end, that are already scheduled for next week. But moving on, I do kind of want to acknowledge a match between one of my personal favorites, Ariana Grace versus Meechim. Madame just knows how to serve me every week and just bring all the graciousness to NXT and this women's division, and she continues to do that. I absolutely love to watch her perform, from how silly her music is, and knowing the background that she comes from, and who's, you know, being that she's a generational superstar from Santino Marella, who was always the gift that kept on giving. I feel like we could see a very bright future for Ariana Grace as a gift that keeps on giving, whether it's comedy, performance, or any kind of dynamic in a match. What did you guys think about this match, though? Even though she kind of didn't come out on top in this one, Meechim did take the win. What do you guys think about this matchup?
I'm so first off, I knew, so I know, and I'll probably drop it in the next couple of days. We actually interviewed Ariana, aka Bianca, before she was signed to WWE. So we'll drop that interview. Super dope interview, because I was trying to remember, like, it's been a minute. Anyways, found that interview, super dope interview. So check out for that, or you can just search Bianca in our YouTube. But her and Chelsea's interaction, and the fact that they didn't bring up the her and Chelsea's interaction, just amazing.
The team I did not know I needed. I did not know I needed that duo.
Yes,
it was
like,
so good.
We either, I don't know where Piper's gonna fit in, and happy belated birthday to Piper. I don't know where Piper's gonna fit in all this, but Chelsea and Ariana, like, yes.
And yeah, I need more of that. I really do need more of that. And I was gonna bring that up too, just to have that little that small little session and backstage promo with Chelsea Green. I can already see them wreaking havoc on management and going to town. And you know, apparently Chelsea Green does like it in NXT, being that it is run by a woman, and it's also a woman who actually listens and is fair compared to the, you know, what she's been getting from Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. And it's really, I thought it was just a really cool way to bring that in on screen. And I think everybody was pleasantly surprised at how well it just left us. It was almost like very reminiscent of how people came on board with the Wolf Dogs. But in this match, Ariana Grace kind of gets her butt handed to her. And
we thought it was like, I didn't, just based on the interactions before that. And sorry, I went on a tangent on Chelsea and all this stuff. Love Chelsea.
No,
but just looking at the matchup and then seeing what happened last week, I was just kind of like, did we expect it to go any other way? Like, it was perfect. It was what we expected.
Maybe because she's just such my recent favorite. I just have high expectations of her. Being that she carries herself so gracefully, you would think that she'd get through with flying colors, but no, not in this case, unfortunately, for Miss Grace. But it's great to see Michin in action. Like, I'm just happy to see her on NXT, and you know, she was quite impactful in the older NXT days. But just to have her get that shine with, and you know, kick some ass real quick on a Tuesday night was always a pleasure to watch. Well, yeah. So congratulations, Michin. And I guess nobody's all for Ariana Grace, but don't worry, Ariana Grace, I love you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you bring to this table, and I'm all for a gracious NXT. Moving on from there, we also have...
wait. Let me say something quickly.
Oh, Professor, sorry.
Because admittedly, this is one of the reasons that I'm here today, is for Ariana Grace. Ariana Grace,
yay!
You know, I think one of the things that, if we're not careful in this wrestling space, we will fully equate everything to wins and losses. And everything's not wins and losses. Yes, wins and losses do matter, but it matters when there are certain things you're trying to establish. I think there were two things at work here in this match. The reestablishment of Michin, who has not had the best main roster run, certainly not indicative or reflective of how skilled she is. So bringing her into this NXT space is a good thing. At the same time, getting Ariana Grace in front of people, you know, not all everybody can't be the world champion. They just can't, right? Everybody's not going to wear a championship, but there are those people who you tune in to see every single week. Before Trick Williams was the NXT champion, we tuned in to see him because we enjoyed him. We love Ariana Grace, and there's a digital exclusive out there with her and Chelsea following Chelsea's match, which, let me just tell you, we need these two on our screens as often as possible. They are great palate cleansers from all of the hardcore wrestling we will see on NXT. You need the entertainment factor. They are very much the entertainment factor. So I am here for all of this, for Ariana. I am here for Chelsea, and I am here for Michin as well. So everybody got to really win out of this scenario, and I think that's awesome.
Yes, hashtag we love Ariana Grace, damn it. I put it in the chat.
We do. We really, really do.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else on that, moving on, we had, which I'm sure are...
Oh, wait. Sorry. One other thing.
What we got?
Just to be noted, just, for just for said, because he was supposed to be here, but he wasn't here. Both Ariana Grace and Chelsea Green, both phenomenal Canadians. Just putting it out.
Oh,
Oh man.
wow.
Oh man. And there we go again, putting the
Wow.
T in NXT. I love it.
Mhm.
I absolutely love
Mhm.
it. Well, let's continue on with the T, shall we? Being that we had just mentioned our mayor. Shayna Baszler
Mhm.
was in action last night and defeated Carmen Petrovic. And of course, his beloved Lola Vice was in her corner. And of course, Shayna Baszler got the win up on this. She got one up on Carmen. It was a good match between these two. Natalia's still trying to give Carmen some notes, being in her corner and such, but Shayna Baszler still came out on top, and Lola Vice, rightfully so, gyrating and showing off at the end of the match. She looked great, by the way, as well. But what did you think of this match, Boss Lady, and how did it leave you when it finished?
I'm just texting Jacob the tweet that we get. Shayna looked like the Shayna of I don't want to say the Shayna of old, because she's done well in the main roster, but the same dominance that she had at NXT, I felt like there was it was missing, like there was like missing beat or something. So she looked like the NXT Shayna, where it's just kind of like I said that last week when she was walking in with Lola, like she had this air about her, like this is my former stomping grounds. I was the I was gonna say that, I was the queen. I would say HNIC, but that doesn't equate. But I was like, I was running the show. This is like I've been here, done that, and I wouldn't expect it. She got beat here, then I would be like, what are we doing?
Then I'd be concerned,
yeah, they'd be concerned. So I really did like it was a great match between the two. Because I think when she came out with the sword, I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
The updated entrance, I was here for that. That updated Carmen entrance was so good.
The second rope with the sword. And I'm kind of like, it's kind of one of those things where you forget, I wouldn't say you forget that they're professionals, but you're like, oh, don't cut yourself. But clearly this is not her first go around walking around with the sword. But it was a great match. I did like the ending. It was kind of like a reintroduction to Shayna again. And I really hope that either like this is a little bit of a run for her, that she's able to take it up to the main roster, because remember when she went to the main roster, that was the old era. And now we're in something new creatively, where there's a ebbs and there's a flow between all three brands. So maybe this is a nice reset to get the Shayna that we had before in NXT, reestablish her back in NXT, maybe even give her that confidence. I don't know if she's lacking it or not, so I'm not speaking for her, but give her that confidence that when she goes back to the main roster, that's the Shayna we see. And also, we're going to talk about this in a later date. I do believe, hot take, I do believe that we are going to get the UFC 4 Horsewomen in WWE within the next 5 years. If not for a one-off, well, definitely for a one-off, not for a full thing, but that's going to happen. Read Ronda's book.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it seems like Boss Lady might be knowing some extra tea that we're not aware of. So for those of you who don't know the tea, better go get that book, including myself. I definitely need to get that book. But I just want to just go back and refresh about Shayna again. Thank you so much to Shawn Michaels for bringing back our beloved Queen of Spades and, making her feel like her old self again, and giving us the black and gold days of Shayna Baszler when she was running things as the queen of NXT and, women's champion. One of my personal favorites, and I'll say it every time we mention her, one of my personal favorite NXT women's champions, straight up. What do you think this bodes for as far as, the future of Carmen Petrovic and Natalia's relationship going forward, Professor?
I think their relationship will be okay. I think this will really be kind of the mentor-mentee kind of relationship. I got nervous. You guys were talking about the entrance of Petrovic. There was a moment where I thought, oh my God, she's going to stab Natalya, because Natalya came in and she was so close. I was like, you almost walked into the sword. Like, what are we doing? But with that said, their entrance or their exit kind of in the back where Petrovic was frustrated and then she just randomly kicked this guy, and it was like, okay, kind of harness this type of thing. So I think their relationship will be okay. I think, again, this is an opportunity for Carmen Petrovic to really come into her own, and Natalia is probably the right person to do that given her level of experience. Natalia as a mentor in NXT is such a win. And I hope that they'll continue to build on this because I think people like Carmen Petrovic will really benefit.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be really exciting going forward. I feel like this is not going to be the end of this group. No, this four that we see here. I feel like there's going to be a lot more telling for this story, especially with NXT Battleground coming up at the Apex in Vegas. I feel like these four women are going to play a very big part in that PLE event for sure. Let's see. MGB says we do not want Yonda back. Win for Hickenbottom. Yonda Rousey. That's pretty funny. I like that. And he also says Carmen needs to hit Natty with one of those kicks she hit sexy BJ Ray with. Like she gave him one of those I just kicked Stan kicks, if you remember from that classic segment of D-Generation X where Shawn was pretty much losing his stuff and Triple H was saying that Eric Bischoff says we're not controversial enough. And he just goes on a super kicking spree all through the hallway. And funny enough, the said Stan of that moment was our now Shawn Spears.
Correct.
And he was
correct,
which was really fun, which is really fun to revisit. If you haven't seen that video, you must be living under a rock. MDD also says if you loved Yonda, you'll love Yonda Lousy. You know what? Where's the womp womp when you need it?
Right.
Let's see. What else do we have to get into? Oh, we had some tag team action. I don't know if we have a graphic for that, but we had Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe again versus who was it? Darn it. It was the family, I believe.
No, the Quarter Catch Crew.
No, Quarter Catch Crew, excuse me. And then the family was involved because there was a slight little miscommunication or misunderstanding or something that happened where the Don had made some moves to add their own special guest referee and none other than Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Alicia Taylor looked quite confused at that announcement. She was like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm just here to make announcements, y'all. What do you guys think about that little catch in this chess move by the family and the Don? Like, where do you think they're going with this, boss lady?
The family is like great, and I love it. However, I don't know. We need to get like a DEI person. I don't know if it's like on the verge of like stereotypes. Actually, if anything, I feel like you can kind of speak to, well, you're adjacent, honey, can speak to that. But like, I don't know if there's like, it's like on the verge of stereotypes, but I love it. The rap was just, it was really some really good moments. And like the last 3 count where it's like the slow, the second to last where it's the slow, and then it's like, all right, well, they're not going to clearly get this 3 cleanly, so let me just count this real fast. Like it was a really nice angle as far as story wise. I loved it, and it was good, and it was their first win. So
yes.
And I'll take it whether, because I didn't tell the ref to. I was just there minding my business. So a win is a win. So I'll take it.
A win is a win is a win indeed. Professor, what do you feel about the moves that the family has been making as of late in the last couple of weeks in NXT? And do you think that they're creating more targets on their back? Is this a good thing for them that they're making these moves, or is this bad? What do you think?
The family feels it's hard to peg them right now. Going into Stand and Deliver, they definitely felt like they were the heel family. Right now, it feels like they're sort of trying to be the face family with heelish tendencies. Like we really can't tell where they stand, and I'm not sure of what to think about it. You don't think of good guys putting people in trunks and driving away with them. But that's what they're doing to get the advantage so that, you know, ultimately Tony D can become the Heritage Cup champion. So it's hard to figure this out where exactly they lie. But I do think that what this match did was, again, like we saw with Ariana Grace and Mi Chin, whenever both parties have stories being told, everybody wins, as opposed to, you know, your classic squash match where one person was literally just there to enhance the other. We had two stories here. Would the tag team of Tyson and Tariq, would they get their first win? You know, and could they get it against the no quarter catch crew? And could the no quarter catch crew end up, you know, being taken advantage of by the family? Like, all of these things working together proves to be very, very good. But I can't quite tell where the family is. And I think the next question is, what's left for the family to accomplish in NXT? And has their run really come to an end? They've been tag team champions, perhaps during the 2.0 days, but still champions regardless. The Don is not the NXT champion, and I don't see him becoming the NXT champion anytime soon. So what's left for them? Perhaps it's the Heritage Cup. If they don't accomplish this, the question is, what is it to be done? And MDB has a point. He says they were wrestling in Tim's. They clearly don't value their ankle. Look, it's hard to walk
I
in
loved
Tim's,
it.
okay?
I loved it. And it was like the New York Tim's, and it had the it was
tag
very
on it.
thick soles. Yeah.
So
I think I put that in
good.
my notes. That was whoever decided that. I mean, I'm a sucker for a man with Tim's. Like, yes.
It gets no more New York than that. I tell you that. Once
This
the
is
Timberlands are involved, I have a pair of them myself. They clearly
I
don't
had a
value their
pair
ankles.
time ago.
I love it. Oh,
They were hard to
time.
watch.
Time ago when Professor used to not talk in biblical terms.
I used one analogy.
A much less biblical professor.
Yeah, they were much less biblical.
One analogy.
Professor was definitely in them Lita streets. That was, you know, the professor with the Tim's on.
Oh snap! Oh
Wow.
snap! The NXT's
Wow.
getting hot. The tea is getting piping hot up in here.
Wow.
MDB's with it. MDB says take it to the Biblics. Might as well just keep on running with it. Before we get into the final match, I do want to highlight one match that did happen that I quite enjoyed, which was Fallon versus Kaylani. Kaylani Jordan has star written all over her. I can't wait to see where her journey goes going forward. I do love the dynamic that they put with her and Fallon, being that they were former friends and former locker room mates. And Fallon has this, you know, newfound confidence, newfound attitude. What do you think is going to be on Fallon's agenda going forward into the future, boss lady? Besides the combine coming up and everything as well.
316. I mean, I feel like this is a reset for her. Depending on what I don't know how they go as far as the wrestling storylines, meaning like this is the goal and then they work backwards. I don't know how it works. However, that's how my mind would work. And the goal is for her, either for her to eventually get the championship and or for her to, you know, in this side of time, she's going to be on the main roster. I feel like either one of those two paths means that she has to clear out the women's locker room, go one person, and it's a different type of match now that she's, you know, I'm in it for me. I'm not in it for anybody else. So it's a different type of energy, different type of matches, you know. So that's what I think is going to be the place. She's just going to start running through the locker room. Like, y'all have all these things to stay. You guys want, you know, you're talking about friendships. Y'all work for me. Now I'm going to run through y'all because I am the bad. I'm the greatest, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I see that's going to kind of go with her direction.
Nice. Professor, your thoughts on Fallon versus Kaylani last night?
I thought it was a great match again. This is kind of the theme of NXT, really establishing two separate stories here. Kaylani continues to grow. She has come already a long way from the breakout tournament, which I think is incredible. Fallon Henley, her story is interesting to me because it just feels like right now NXT may have said we have a shortage of heels in our women's division. And so who's willing to make the move? First, Roxanne makes the move, which seemingly was shocking, but we can ride with it. Fallon is doing a good thing right now. I don't know that people understand how hard it is to change your ways from being, this happy-go-lucky, fun-loving person to now I hate the world. And she did it rather quickly. Like there was not this slow burn to get there. It was just like 1 week she's looking around and she gets bumped and now I'm sick of this, But to a degree, it makes sense. When she was with Briggs and Jensen, they were all kind of this one big unit. And then since they've split, they've all really gone in separate directions. It seems as though Jensen, at this point, he's kind of missing in action right now because he's just like, I can't seem to get it together. I'm going away for a while. Josh Brooks seemingly found his lane, but finding his lane was him having to say, you know what, I'm going to be a bit more aggressive. And it looks like Fallon Henley has decided she needs to go that route as well. So I think this will be a very interesting run for her. She has all the tools, I think, to be a major problem in the women's division. And now she's going against all of her friends in the past. This is going to be something to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. Newfound attitude, newfound confidence. Perhaps you guys should go check out our merch and go get some new merch.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
Boop, 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 boop. Don't make her fight you, please, because she sounds really upset if you're not gonna cop that merch. Boss lady had to jump off, but we always appreciate her energy during our sessions, and we'll hopefully maybe see her later for WWT Live. Don't know when she might pop up, but we love having her here nonetheless. You never know when the boss is watching, so we gotta make sure we on our P's and Q's up in here, okay? Ain't no human resources issues here. Maybe, with Trick and Legend, maybe so, but not so much here. But I am back here with my partner, the Professor. And yes, please go cop that merch before she fights you. Don't make her fight you, okay?
Please.
Now let's close it off with the final match of the night. We had our title, women's NXT women's title on the line, and this was a big one. I quite thoroughly enjoyed this match. We had Roxanne Perez, the defending champion, versus Chelsea Green of the main roster, which I thought was a very refreshing look for NXT for some reason. I don't think that Chelsea Green would fit so well, and I keep forgetting that she kind of did have a little bit of a little start in NXT there, or she had some moments in NXT in years past. But Roxanne, this was actually a really good look for Roxanne, in my opinion. She's able to come up again, and prove that she is a defending champion. Chelsea Green did not make it easy for her because she was giving her a run for her money. It was a very good match and a great way to end the show. Professor, what were your thoughts on the match and the result?
Well, once again, the theme here is everybody has a story to tell. And I think both of these women did. I think it's a story of redemption for Chelsea Green, whose initial NXT run was forgettable. And then, of course, when she first made her way into the main roster, she ended up breaking her wrist, having to then go to TNA and all the other things. I think we really got to see that Chelsea can wrestle in this match.
Yes.
I think that's important. She is a personality, but she is also a wrestler. For Roxanne Perez, I think this furthers her story arc as well, to be able to say, I'll fight whoever. Yeah, you know what? I don't care if she's good or bad. And so Chelsea kind of was almost a tweener in this match where people were cheering for her because they love her, and because they dislike Roxanne. And so it was a great match, I think, all the way around. And again, nobody ended up hurting because of this. Chelsea did not have to walk out as the NXT Women's Champion for her to have really gained a bit of a victory. So a big win on paper and in the match for Roxanne. But I also feel like Chelsea, her star grew as well. And if you missed it, go on either WWE socials or their website and see the digital exclusive with her and Ariana Grace following this match. It's worth everything.
It was such a great exchange between those two. Like I said, that was a breath of fresh air that I did not know I needed when I saw that pop up on screen. I was actually did my little crash course this morning of NXT, and I was just like, well, this is pleasant. I like this. This is pleasant. The interaction was very pleasant, though I can't say it was as pleasant for Miss Georgina, as Ariana likes to call her, Miss Gigi Dolin, who seemed a little fed up with all the prissiness and, you know, the wanting to be like Ariana Grace, because we know that she does not want any of that. But it's safe to say that I think she has her eyes on both of these women, and I think that she should be a little careful where she treads, because these, although they are graceful and classy women, they will whip some booty. They will do it.
Yes.
Yeah. MDB says we have to say her name correctly. I apologize. It's Chelsea Green. And I'm sorry. I am no Samantha, but I hope I did it justice for her. Because that's actually one of my favorite intros for Samantha as well, when she's done it. Chelsea isn't just a wrestler. She's the best wrestler. She's the bestler, better than all the wrestlers. You know what? We're gonna have to reconsider. We're gonna have to reconsider taking this dose of NXT this early in the morning with MDB, because so who gave you your shot of espresso, sir? Eric Isaac, good to see you. Chelsea and Ariana's moment was priceless. I believe we can all agree on that. Gigi was dressed like a 2005 Avril Lavigne with the hat on. You know, why you got to make things so complicated, MDB? I just don't know. You continue to do so, but we enjoy it. And so going forward, you know, seeing Roxanne conquer and retain the title, I definitely think that was something that was to be expected. I think pretty much Roxanne is going to be holding on to that title a little bit longer, at least up until we see the likes of Cora Jade returning, because I think that's something that we all really want to see in NXT happen. We were promised that match, and we need to get that match right away. But of course, we want Cora Jade to have a speedy recovery, and, you know, smooth recovery even. And we'll eventually burn that bridge when we get there. MDB says he got his shot of espresso from the Lord. Well, we are just all full of the biblics today. Cora Jade and Roxanne together would make my soul happy. I think it would make a lot of souls happy. You can't say the same for, you know, the likes of Sol Ruka and the ladies in that combine, but you best believe they will have their eyes on that match whenever it happens, if Roxanne is still champion. Even though that it was for the North American Championship, who's to say we won't get a first-time North American women's combined with an NXT Women's Champion, which I think is something that we could all use for the women's division in NXT, just to spice things up a bit. But enough about that. I think that is pretty much all we have for today as far as the NXT post-show. We do have some scheduled matches for next week already. We have 2 qualifiers from the results of the Combine. We have Izzy Dame versus Sol Ruka as the first, this match is going to be pretty disgusting. This match is going to be, this is going to be really, really good. And I'm loving all the women's matches that have been happening and transpiring on NXT. It's a great way to highlight them, and they're building up this women's division fast. Just when we thought we didn't even have much of a women's division to build on months ago, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. But Izzy Dame and Sol Ruka will be the first, one of the first qualifying matches for the NXT Women's North American Championship. So this is going to be awesome. We also have Ivy Nile versus Lash Legend, which I can't wait to see this, because these two are such polar opposites as far as their abilities in the ring. But I think that's what's going to make it a very good contrast for when they face off and when it finally happens. Who's going to win? We don't know. We'll have to see and find out and tune in for next week. We also have the Dom face with the versus one of the members of the No Quarter Catch crew. We don't know who that member will be yet, but the cup is on the line, which is saying a lot about how big they're going to build this matchup, going up on a Tuesday already. And as we saw in the final segment of Metaphor, we had a certain young OG pop up.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh
on
yeah.
Noam Dar, and was like, well, if you think you're the baddest around here, I could show you why they call me the young OG and why I'm the hottest new thing, and I'm here to take your spot. So we got young OG versus Noam Dar, which I think this match might take the match of the night, honestly. I'm liking a more serious Noam Dar. I know I
Yeah.
always said I wasn't really big on Metaphor and the comic relief and everything. I mean, considering everything that's happened with Trick Williams, that might have changed my mind a little bit. But now with Noam Dar being serious and not being, not here to play any games with anybody, I feel like we're going to get a different side that we haven't seen possibly in a while from Noam Dar as well. Let me see here. Tiffany Stratton, aka Easy Dent. Oh my goodness. You know what, MDB? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. But yeah, so that's all we have for today. And those are the 4 matches we are going to be getting into NXT for next week. So make sure you join us for the post show next Wednesday morning as well. And as we take it home, Professor, where can everybody find you?
Of course, you can find me at Bonnerfied on all of the socials. You can check out my commentary work with Southern Honor and IWE on IWTV. You can check out my commentary work as well. Oh, thank you. You can check out my commentary work as well with All Caribbean Wrestling on their YouTube page. We've got great matches there, including matches from Philly Mania, which is incredible, and some really cool things are coming up this summer. Also, you can check out my work with Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling and the Nightmare Factory on the Nightmare Factory YouTube page. On the Nightmare Factory YouTube page, we've just dropped Student Showcase 13. So check that out. Really, really cool doing commentary for that. You can check out my work with Ashe Wrestling at AsheWrestling.com and on their socials. And in case you did not check it out on Triller TV, you can check out my work with the Shad Gaspard Memorial Cup Tournament. It was very, very special. Had the honor of calling that entire show. So definitely go and check that out. And then I'll be back here, of course. I think Honey will be here with me for WWT Live tonight, this afternoon, depending upon where in the world you are. And of course, we've got episode 300 coming this Friday. So 299 is going to be today, 300 this Friday. Make sure you are here for all of that.
Yes, excellent. And you guys can find me here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays as well with the WWT Live crew. Don't forget to tune into my Honey SmackDown watch-alongs that we do every Friday at 8 o'clock during SmackDown. And like MDB said, follow Honey or you're a dummy. Hashtag Honey SmackDown. I appreciate it. Also check me out on the socials, TikTok Wrestling with Honey, Instagram Wrestling with Honey, Facebook Wrestling W Honey. I also got the Honey Pop predictions that I brew up prior to the shows on Mondays and Fridays. Kind of missed a day yesterday. I apologize for that. But your girl had some things going on. It happens from time to time. Also, don't forget to check us out here for the Wednesday post shows every morning after NXT. And you can join me, Professor, the Boss Lady TK, or Ced if he ever shows up, or Jacob if they ever show up. Just saying, I had to plug that in for the Boss Lady just to see. But yes, as always, thank you to everybody in the chat. MDB, always appreciate your shot of espresso every day. Eric, Matt, thank you. Special Little Nobodies. We also had a couple of others here. I forget who that was. WrestleManiac, I believe, UK.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining. And Brandon Stevens as well. We appreciate all your energy, and thank you to everybody for all the views, the likes, the subscribes. Make sure you go check out our merch as well. There's a little QR code on the corner. I'm not sure if it's on my side or your side, depending on where you're at. It looks like it could be on my side. But check that out. Check out all our merch and check out all our cool content and interviews that we have going on WWT Live. And we appreciate you guys as always. And thank you for tuning in to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's network on the planet. See you later. What's up, guys?
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at wwtalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at wwtalkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.